bad. So I kind of now, over the years, I've kind of gone into the aspect of when I'm like looking for animated review or shows to review, I just go like, I want to pick some bad ones. Because usually I would have just gone like, I don't want to see bad ones, I don't want to see that, I want to see good stuff. So I've kind of like gone the opposite way though. It's, I almost want to like see the train wreck happen. And yeah, you can't go wrong when you find an anime called Listen to Me Girls, I'm Your Father. Or My Little Sister Can't Possibly Be This Cute. I mean, seriously, there are serious... But, I mean, ultimately, it's not as bad as it sounds. But it's just, it's one of those things, it gets people engaging and actually watching the show, but it's actually a lot tamer than you think. And it's just one of those things. I have seen a lot of good stuff in my time, but I also want to like see how bad can be, and just see whether it actually gets a reaction. Because I'm quite laid back usually. If I like something, yeah, that's pretty good. Or if I'm really excited, I get really stoked. If it didn't really engage me, I'm like, it's just a simple reaction. It's very rare these days I actually get something that actually makes me want to say something or do something. So I actually want to actively seek them, and that's what I kind of do whenever I pick a show. But obviously there are some people that actually would like me to pick the actual big shows that are actually good. So I have to show restraint and usually at least keep half of the bad. So yeah.
Let's see, another question here. Let's do Black Love there. Oh wait, did we get a question for you?
Yes, so you can take someone else.
Oh, I picked you. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you ever gotten so, I don't know, passionate hate or passionate love for a movie or something that you've actually scared people off when you talk about it?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
So passionate, either it's hate or love about any film or any series or anything that you've actually scared people off when you try to talk about it or review it.
Like scare people away from a movie because I talk so bad about it?
Or from yourself?
Scare people away from you because you're also passionate about it.
I think, I don't know, the only thing I can think of...
It's for all of you if you want to answer.
No, you know what, I'll say this, and actually this was a really great moment, especially in separating myself from my character, is that I got an uncle, and he's really cool, he's really laid back, he loves talking about movies, but he'll talk about knowing it's just a movie, and this was back when I used to be a little bit more like the nostalgia great character, or if you didn't like something I liked, or vice versa, I'd just be like, how can you, what's wrong with you, what, blah, 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 blah. And I remember at some point we were just talking about some movie, and he liked it, and I just said, how can you like that movie, that's a terrible movie, I don't know what's wrong with you, and blah, 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 he just goes, you're right. Like, it was just one of those things, like, he clearly didn't care, and he's just like, okay, you win. So, and it was just one of those great eye-openers. I'm like, I feel no more strength in this argument. And it was just one of those great moments where it's like, again, I started talking about this in the Movies Everyone Disagrees With You panel, where it's just sort of like, yeah, it's great talking about these things, but I mean, it's like, it's still just a movie, and let's, if anything, talk about it to share your differences and find out more about the person. Don't do it to force your opinion on someone, because that's no fun. Even when I say, man, I still sucked, and I make a joke saying, you all suck, it's like, it's a joke, I'm not really serious. If you like the movie, there's nothing wrong with liking the movie, and you can tell me why, I love hearing reasons why, that's part of the fun, is hearing, difference of opinions, and, why they enjoy something and you don't, and you share, and you find out, and maybe you hear viewpoints you never considered, so, no, as far as I know, I've never actually scared someone away by how passionate I was about something. Maybe it came close with Breaking Dawn Part 1, but...
I was actually thinking about that one, because you mentioned that you can only talk for a really long while about something if you're really passionate about it.
And that was the only movie in a while where I got really passionate about it, because like I said, I'm just like, man, you're going into a territory you clearly know nothing about, you shouldn't be talking about, and I still wasn't sure if I was overreading that, or maybe I was in the head, I don't know, but, again, a different point of view that maybe someone didn't think of. Let's see, let's do someone on the ground here, yeah.
Just curious about, when you do a crossover, speaking of crossovers, how do you decide who gets, whose series it's part of, or who gets which channel it's on? Usually when someone does a nostalgia crossover, it's part of the nostalgia critic. But when you did a Familiar Faces, the CR, it was part of the Familiar Faces and not nostalgia. How do you decide that?
Usually the way it works is whoever wants to either A, write the majority of it, or B, edit it. it's their video usually. And I think it's sort of different with everyone, but it's sort of whoever comes up with the idea and starts talking about it usually. But I don't know. It's very rare. I've never had a conversation like, okay, so I'll edit it then, and blah blah blah. It's just something about you sort of know going in who's gonna do this stuff. I don't know. Probably not. I've done a lot of them too, and I can't really recall any conversation where it's like, okay, I'll do this, you do this. It just sort of happens depending on people's schedules.
Yeah, generally, mostly the rule of thumb, especially with channels, seems to be whoever edited it normally is normally the person that puts it on the channel, and normally the person who edited it is normally the same person who did the main writing, of course. Normally, what I do is with I think what many contributors do actually when they're doing crossovers is that they'll try and get the other collaborators to do a series of notes. And what I'll do is I'll work those notes into the script that I'm writing. So it's sort of half me, half the contributor, and if I was writing.
Look out! I'm rushing the stage.
But normally, if I'm the guy, you just don't.
It's a moment.
But then the person that's normally writing the crossover writes the scenes that are normally at the start and end. So, it was quite funny in the case of like Brad, when I did the collaboration with Brad on the Bane review, I wrote some really scathing things for Brad to insult me with, and everyone in the comments kept going, Brad, you really sucked it to him. Yeah, that film rate sucked. I'm like, I wrote those. Brad, you didn't write
The only time you're good is when you're saying you're bad.
I've been putting myself down a lot today.
You should make that cake there. There's obviously the awkward sort of subject of money as well when it comes to crossovers.
Yeah.
Because if somebody's got a video on their channel, then they're going to get all the revenue, and the other person's almost doing work for free almost. But like when you came down to do internet dating, I posted the video, but then you had the crossover, so it sort of like evens itself out.
And I gave you the bloopers. I do kind of feel bad about hosting the main video because obviously the money goes to the person who ever uploads it. So I normally at least offer to the other contributor, hey, here's the blooper video, do you want to have that at least, and we'll post it at the same time. You know, that way you get a little bit from it out of it. No, it's not the way I've tried to do it, but it's not really perfect, is it?
You scratch my back this time, and I'll scratch yours the next time. Sort of that's the thing.
With me and Panda, it kind of works out. Most of the time, Panda will host the video, and then he'll split the blip check with me. And let's say I trust him enough to say that if he's going to, if it's a fair split, because I generally do most of the editing. We do the writing together, and then we sort of film our bits obviously separately. We'll get other people to film cameos separately and we'll put them in. But for me, yeah, it's down to with Panda. It'll be if it's a Panda Q&A video, he will host it. If it's anything else, I'll usually host it because I did the editing. I'll do the editing for it, like the shit like that with the glasses. Producers say and do. We've done 2 of those. We've got a 3rd one coming up, and shit like that with the glasses. Fans say. So keep that in mind. And I'll host those because I do most of the work. We do a little bit of writing together, but I do all the editing for it.
I'd have to go with the consensus of everyone, really, in that it's just usually down to whoever comes up with the concept of a crossover. So, again, going back to the only one that I'd done, I pitched the idea to Benzai, and he was all for it, and I pretty much just asked him to just film some content on the green screen. So I don't
I'm seeing. There's a monkey.
You applauded that, really?
It's what we do.
You applaud dicks.
We love all the humour. But yeah, this is the thing. It's all about just that, yeah, that whoever comes up with the concept and actually goes through the actual execution of the idea. So for that instance, I put it on my channel because it was just something I'd asked Benzai to do for me. So that I would just have to go with consensus on that one. Yeah.
Why don't you choose the next one?
Okay.
That he's in his hand up like an hour.
Yep. Well, first of all, if you're wanting some really good like parody material, there's like a British series that's the second of which has been on recently called A Touch of Cloth.
A touch of what?
Cloth. Cloth.
Cloth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's basically like a parody of police procedurals. It's done by a guy called Charlie Brooker, who I'm a huge fan of. And you know, he does a show called Black Mirror, which is really fucked up, but it's great. But yeah, the question I was going to ask was, like, have you ever, like, all of you, have you ever like come across a movie or like an anime or anything like that? Not necessarily like the worst thing you've ever seen or anything, but like you've sat and watched it with a full intention of doing a review of it, and then like sat and stared at a computer for about half an hour before you realise, shit, I can't make this funny.
I can actually say mine. It was so bad that we just threw a dream sequencing because we had nothing, and that was Junior. And it was like, you would think Schwarzenegger pregnant would just open up all these possibilities, and it was so boring. You had that great bit with the baby Schwarzenegger. It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be gold. And it's just like, okay, but it's like, okay, they're really doing this. Like, a man is pregnant. Okay, hilarity. I mean, it's like
That's a hell of a thing for her to walk in on.
yeah. Welcome to Pregnant Men. We're all expecting. These aren't beer guts. But yeah, that was the one where I'm just like, dude, I got nothing.
I had one recently. I was planning to do the movie Talk, and the thing about Talk is the guy who directed it. I think Joseph Kahn.
Yeah.
I think he might have been the same guy who did Detention.
He is.
Really?
Yeah, he's Detention has a bit where one of the characters goes, Talk was the stupidest movie ever. Talk was basically half the studio, half him. And his side is that he actually hates the Fast and the Furious movies and all that. So the fact that he was actually asked to do a Fast and the Furious like rip-off essentially with motorbikes, he's like, I'm gonna make this the dumbest, stupidest movie ever. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, this is amazingly bad. This is gonna be a golden episode. But then I learned that, and I was like, okay, let's consider this from the perspective of someone who doesn't know it, and let's consider it from the perspective of, okay, what's he's trying to do here? And I realised that was basically. I couldn't write it because it's like a snake trying to chase its own tail. You can't do that. You can't do those two viewpoints at the same time because it just doesn't work. And I just realised I didn't really have a good through line, so I had to discard that one. Unfortunately, I just couldn't make that one work.
I only remember seeing the trailer for it, and I
Yeah.
thought, no.
It's some parts of Talk are half serious, and some parts of Talk are clearly meant to be jabs at Fast and the Furious. Like at one point, one of the characters actually quotes a line from the Fast and the Furious, saying, "I live my life a quarter mile at a time." That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and that's literally what Vin Diesel says in Fast and the Furious, and that is deliberately meant to be there. And funny enough, it's made by the same people who made Fast and the Furious.
I only ever saw the third one. It's just such an empty movie. It's funny, the main guy I thought was, he's like the kid from American Gothic, and I'm like, oh wait.
Tokyo Drift.
I've seen all the Fast and the Furious movies, and I don't even like any of them. How did that?
Time killer.
I think maybe Tremors 4, the first two I think are awesome, and the third one was just appalling, and the fourth one sort of picks it up again a little bit, but there's only so many times you can say this is boring, they can't act, the CGI shit. Rinse and repeat. So if there's nothing to stand out like in Junior, there's the dream sequence, there's nothing like that in Tremors 4, so it's just like, I just couldn't make an entertaining video out of this, and yeah, it has to have something in there that you can pick up on and run with, and if it doesn't, then there's no point in doing the video.
I never had to stop. I scrapped it instead of started again. There's a film called Backwards Bloodbox, which I did, and I'd written say 12 pages of the script, and I decided I didn't like it, so deleted it all and started again.
I know what that's like.
Yeah, I just complete. But I've never sort of like watched. Like I said, I'll only choose a film that I think I can get something out of. It's like with Killjoy. I saw Killjoy. It took 15 years before I actually wrote the review, but I had so much stuff in my head about what I wanted to say about it for that long. So it was great to actually get it down on paper.
You made me want to watch that. Actually.
Killjoy.
Describing it.
They've made 4. They made 4. Fuck. They're making a fucking 5th as well. sorry. Yeah, I'm doing. I've got Killjoy 3, but they sent it to me. Full Moon sent me Killjoy 3, and I've not watched it yet through fear. So at some point I'm going to watch it. But as far as like a scrapping, no, I've never done that.
This is probably one I could think of lots of things to say, but I think I couldn't be able to restrain myself. School Days.
Nice bonus.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that show, that series was just made me so mad. I just picture, I could either just have myself like screaming into a camera for about 10 minutes, which is just not, that's not how I roll, really. It's just not my style. It would kind of just go against my character, or it would be just like me just standing in front of the camera for 10 minutes, just going.
Decided to that weird cross days thing with where like at the end of it just everyone dies.
It's one.
Spoilers.
All I'll just say is like, hey, nice boat. Yeah, it caused controversy even in Japan. You know it's got to be, well,
What the fuck?
good. In that sense, it's not. You got to say, oh, it's going to be good. You say it's going to be good. But it's just that's one of those things. I want to do that, but I know I can't because it would be just it's almost too easy, and also it's just something I know that I just couldn't control myself in terms of making an adequately mature review on it. I mean, if anyone would want to, if people ask me my opinion at conventions or something about that, I would gladly talk about it.
You have a line after this panel now.
Just write it and take some Valium.
Obviously, another time, but I'd just say it like, right, in front, if anyone out there asks me my opinion on it, I would gladly say it, but yeah.
Let's see here. Alright, let's go, red hair in there, yeah.
What's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you at a convention? Like the weirdest, most vivid memory you have?
Okay, well, one that jumps to my head, it was actually the first convention I went to, I've only ever gotten drunk at one convention. I said never again because this is a dumb idea. So the next morning we're at a booth and it's one of those conventions where you sit at the booth and people come up and you just say hi and stuff like that. And for the most part we usually had a line and stuff. This was a Sunday, so it was slower. And both my brother and I there, we both had massive hangovers. And this one guy comes up, asks if he can buy us dinner. And there's like an Applebee's right there, and we don't let. Heads up, we don't let fans buy us dinner. I'm not sure thank you, but wait, it's just a policy. And we told him now we're starving hungry. And we had a group here and they left and that one guy was left there. And I said, Applebee's is right there, there's our salvation, but we can't get up and go in there because they'll see us go in there and they'll probably follow us and say, because that's the thing, he was sort of following us everywhere. So he would just stand there, and he'll look at me and just be like, so what's your favorite movie? Brazil. And you go, oh. Stand in silence for 10 minutes. Then he'd be like, so, you enjoying the con? Yeah. Every 10 minutes, he would ask a question, and then he would go into total silence and just stand there for total silence for a friggin' hour. And our salvation is right there. There's our food, hangover food right there, just saying, come eat me, come eat me. And we can't do anything because this guy is there, and finally out of nowhere, he's just like, well, I gotta go bye. And ran off, and we just looked at the HR like, thank God! And we ran off, and we've had a lot of weird fans, but that guy, that's always the one we go to, like, what the heck is that? No, I got one other one. It's always one of these two, and I'm just like, no, this one's, because you said weirdest, and this one's by far the weirdest. Somebody at a convention once offered one of the staff $1,000 to get something that I have touched and was personal of mine. Whether it be a lock of hair, a belt, a sock, anything. And I don't know what kind of voodoo that person was into, and I don't want to know, but that was frightening, and you just missed the scariest story.
What I'm probably trying to do is act as fucked up as possible so that you will then tell a story.
No, that's just turn them on board.
I don't really have any scary stories.
Okay, does anyone have any?
Because my throat is a bit raspy.
Does anyone have any?
It was the second time I was at Magfest. It was that this is not a lie. It's called the Gaylord Hotel. And oh, you British. But I remember there was this guy, and he was following a lot of that kind of aggressive people around everywhere. And I'd always sort of see him, and then at one point he just stood, he came up to me, he started talking to me, and he talked back as you do, and sort of stuff like that. But then he just stood there, didn't say anything, so I went, oh, okay, I've got to go now. So I turned to go, and he starts following me. Okay, so I walk down to the lobby, he's behind me, I walk to the lift, he's behind me, press the lift, he gets on the lift with me, lift goes up, I get off on my floor, he gets off with me. So I turned around to him and I went, you lost? He went, no. And he stood there. So I walked up to my room, got in my room, sat down, came out about half an hour later. He's still standing. I was like, are you okay? And he went, yeah. And I was thinking to myself, did you see what room I just went into? Then I went to the left, and he followed me into the left. And we got downstairs to the lobby of the Gaylord, and I went, I gotta go now, and I literally ran.
Again, this one was probably like at Magfest as well. It's like my first Magfest, and this was I was with some friends. We were just having lunch at the hotel. This was before, the Hilton.
Yeah, the first one.
And this was like for Magfest 8, and we've been like talking with a couple of people, and then there was this one guy, and the others couldn't see because we were around the booth, so they were having lunch happily. But I could see him, and it looked like he was just gliding towards me. I was just like, oh no, I know what's coming. And then it was, but this is one of the beauties of it. It's just, it looked like he was gliding. Seriously, I couldn't see his feet moving and his legs ambulating in a walking fashion. And then eventually he just like stood over, basically, it was Kermit for a little Grebo and a couple of our friends, and he just stood over Kermit and he was just going, is this dinner? And then Kurt just went like, no, it's lunch. And I thought, brilliant. And that, thankfully, and then he didn't stay very long because he was kind of like, he didn't know what to say, so he just kind of walked off. But it was just like,
Floated away.
It cleared right off, and it's just like one of those things. It's that foreboding. It's like, oh no, it's coming. Oh no. It's one of those things you know you can't avoid because it's going to happen because you're stuck in the booth. You're with someone. You can't get away from it. You can't like just leave the restaurant. You're gonna have to take it head on. But thankfully, the put down just was like, that got us out. Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Let's do green hair.
Well, you guys are pretty much considered internet celebrities.
D-list.
There's a lot of crazy sort of trolls on the internet, and I just wonder how you guys deal with it when you get really personal.
Yeah, sorry, we missed half of that.
With there being like lots of trolls on the internet and
one of them.
crazy people, how do you deal when it gets really personal or abusive? How do you kind of carry on from that?
Well, he did a whole documentary on it.
I saw it.
I mean, what I usually say is that for the most part, if you can kind of turn it into a funny joke, I say go for it. Most of the time with me is that I think we both kind of agree these people are usually looking for attention, and the sad thing about attention is that negative attention is easier and faster to get than positive attention. So if someone's not getting enough attention in their life or whatever, just going online and saying bad stuff, I mean, half the time I don't think they know why they're saying it, but they just want someone to look at them, someone to acknowledge them. They feel like they're just not being acknowledged.
They're the first to call you on it, though. If you comment on them, they'll come back and comment on you and accuse you of trolling them, which is what they are doing, but they can't take it.
So, I mean, honestly, I guess for me, my big thing is that even though I make my living online, I don't see it as like my world. Outside of my job, I don't go online that much. Like, I'll check my Facebook, you know, and look at some funny videos, but I mean, I'm not on there that much, and I don't see it as like, yes, this is where I communicate with people, this is where I talk with people, and it's like, no, this is where I go to talk with people, people, actually going and talking with them, and, and I like going outside, and, doing stuff like that, so to me, it's never been that world, so if somebody's like, hey, a lot of people are really yelling at you and not liking your video and stuff, okay. Nobody's gonna come up on the street and punch me or anything like that, So for me, it's never been like a physical world to be concerned about. It's still an illusion. So me personally, I don't get that wrapped up. So if people are complaining about something, I either turn it into a joke or just ignore it. Because the more you try to usually attack it or fight back, usually the worse it is. I'll hand over to him because, like I said, he's got a whole documentary on this.
I've always said this sort of stuff. I mean, what we do, we put ourselves out there. Anybody who puts, you need a thick skin. You need a thick skin to be able to deal with it because you're going to get criticism on how you look and how you sound and stuff. Everybody's going to criticize you because, there's a mask there, there's a wall. They can't see you, you can't see them, so they can say what they want to say. And some people do say some pretty, horrible stuff. You need that thick skin. I don't like it when, like you said, it gets personal. It's like if they say it about me, I don't care. Because it just bounces off its words. If they mention family members or friends, like I said, I got really knocked when people went at Max. It's like we tease him like non-stop.
Hey, that's our job.
He's at the end of the day, he's a friend, and I don't like it when people do it. And they were doing it about really personal things. It's like saying with Alison, sort of stuff. I got really protective about that. So I'll comment on it, but most of the time, it's if it's about you, ourselves, it's like. You make a joke about it, it's like so many times in my videos I've made jokes, or Panda's made jokes about, you've done it, Brad's done it, there's a blog I think called We Hate Brad Jones, and Brad subscribed to it. He comments on it, and the guy now talks back to Brad, and Brad's like, I think he said something about a review that Brad did, and he got the date wrong, and Brad wrote in correcting him saying it was actually released. Brad's great at doing that as well, but I think it's to say, if you can make a joke out of it, great, but I only get really angry when it gets beyond us, when it's like family and they mention, family members, so people who aren't in the videos, who in no way should be targeted. And that's when it sort of really gets to me. But yeah, as far as just you can keep, it's like Doug said, earlier in the comedy thing, if you can make something funny out of it, do it. There's a guy who basically stalks that guy with the glasses users called Kurvos. He loves the Star Trek prequels. And if you mention the Star Trek prequels in any negative way whatsoever, he jumps on you, jumps down your throat, and hates you. And I remember I was in Scream 4. I compared my reaction to the excitement of Scream 4 coming out. I compared it to the Star Wars fans when they heard Star Wars Episode 1 was coming out. He thought I was having a knock at the prequels, so he wrote this huge ass blog about what a shit I was. So.
Why don't you go outside, talk to women?
So the very next video I did, I put a Star Wars prequels thing in there saying how shit they were. And then I look up and I go, he's probably stopped watching the video. Because he tweeted me to tell me he'd stop watching the video as soon as that bit came on. I was like, okay, you watched the video, I've got the money. But then he came back for Casino Royale and he was like, you didn't complain about the things I didn't like about this film. I was like, well, how was I supposed to know what you didn't like about the film? It's just like make joke. Just make a joke about it. That's the best thing you can do to avoid it. But the real personal stuff, just ignore it because you need a thick skin with what you do.
Yeah, really, it's just one of those things. Really, obviously when you're starting a project, you got the voice out there. So when you're doing a voice, you don't really get that much. You don't get that much hate for the general kind of character and personification of your voice. But when you put yourself out there in terms of actually showing your face. And your image, you eventually kind of get comments. I mean, when I first did my videos, everyone just went, "You got a big head," and that literally was it. Because I lost a lot of weight at that time, and my head is quite large for my frame at the time. Yeah, I've since put some weight back on again. Yeah, it's more healthy weight, but it was still something that people would just look, and then some people would just, that would just kind of really run. I was like, oh, you look like a geek, and I'd go like, I am a geek. Thank you for your clarification. I don't need it. I already know that. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's the thing. Quite a lot of the stuff they just like point out. It's like, hey, you, your head, big. You got glasses. Yeah. I'm like, I know.
Hey, you wear shoes.
I do. Thank you for your observation. You're paying attention. Yeah, I wear shoes. I even wear socks of all things. Black socks with nothing on them. No hat.
That guy with glasses secrets.
But this is one of those things, really. I mean, I edit for a living, so whenever I see people whenever I make an actual video, and they don't respond to it well, or I don't like it. They don't like it. It's just like it's almost just like. I briefly kind of get a little bit down, but then I think, and then I look at all the other ones, and I'm thinking, I'm okay with this. It's just we gotta start right now. Yeah. So, but it's the same. So you just go faster.
Yeah, we'll get YouTube.
Yeah, the best thing you can do if you want to get rid of a troll is to ignore them. If you reply, they'll just keep replying, or if you block them on Twitter, they will find another way to get to you. But kind of, if you think about it, what we do is kind of trolling anyway. That we will take the piss out of a movie, but then people will take the piss out of our review of a movie. So. Yeah, are we any better than them?
Well, I was gonna say, it's hard to actually how dare you attack us kind of thing. It's like, well, we're attacking these other people. It's just sort of like, no, it's just part of the game,
Who's the real cannibals? Seriously, I've had a few instances like this, and really? Well, I've had a couple of times where I've just got to the point where I just decompress, and what I do decompress is I switch off. What I do is I just turn it all off and just basically go out there, because you can turn it off for a little bit and it just goes away. And that's that's basically probably the best thing to do, is just switch off and rebalance your perspective a little bit. I think if you get a little bit too deep into it, you can lose sense of that. And I think it's really important that you don't forget that.
Go outside, go into life. That's great. I can't fault it, but it's like, it's really like, it's Alice.
Yes. What is a movie you started watching and you thought, oh no, this is gonna be so crap, but then after a while you were like, actually this isn't actually that bad, or you watched over and over again, you were like, actually it's not as bad as I thought it was.
That's tough. A movie I thought was gonna suck actually turned out okay and got better and better. Top of my head I can't think of. The only one I can think of right now that I thought was really gonna be bad, and it's actually one of my favorite animated films, is the Kung Fu Panda movies. You just say that title, I was like, this is gonna be shit, and it's like, wow, that was good. Right the same with How to Train Your Dragon. Actually, a lot of the DreamWorks movies, the premises look awful, but they put a lot of effort into them, and it really shows, and they're creative and really smart. So a lot of those movies, actually. So let's see. Who haven't I heard from? Don't think. Did I hear from Orange Shirt? I don't think I did.
Two questions. One.
We can take one, man.
One, okay. Will you ever do a new versus new of Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man?
I like Amazing Spider-Man too much. I like the stories of I like the basic layout of the story of the first Spider-Man. That's the only thing I think is actually better than Amazing Spider-Man. Everything else I think Amazing Spider-Man is so much better. It wouldn't be fair. Let's see. Let's do. Okay, the bearded guy. Give me a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get another one then. Other bearded guy from the very back there.
All of you panelists are relatively established internet celebrities. Do you have any advice to somebody who is trying to get more exposure to a blog or a video series?
All I can tell you is what I did. And what I did is I started off with 5-second movies, which was taking famous films and reducing them down to 5 seconds. So like Titanic would be, this ship can't sink, and you see it sink. The end. And those got really popular because I could make a lot of them and I could make them quickly, and people were Googling that stuff anyway. They were looking up Star Wars or Batman or Lord of the Rings, and I had 5-second versions of those. And from there, I took that and started doing Nostalgia Critic and sketches, and people were starting to like that. And then those got so popular, I didn't need to do 5-second movies anymore, and I kept doing Nostalgia Critic. So just try to do stuff that people are already looking up. That's probably the best thing I could say really fast. Yeah, what else got anybody? Good.
Approach it from a different angle. There's probably like 100 Nostalgia Critic sort of wannabes, for lack of a better term, but if you look at something with a different angle, like I did the sort of the character and the British guy focusing on sequels, so do what you want to do, but do it new. So find an angle that nobody's covered before, and yeah, then things will hopefully fall into place.
Try to create something you would want to see. Not what you want to do, what you would want to see.
Most important thing to do is just believe in yourself. Like, I know it sounds corny. There is. It's an actual serious thing. If you go into something, you want to like just believe in what you're actually trying to say. You want to like have fun doing this and actually believe in what you're saying. If you're just doing this just to instantly get famous and you're doing things just for the sake of because of other people have done it, then it's not really it's not going to stick with you. You're not going to actually enjoy it.
And we got to wrap up here. We're pretty much out of time. I will say with that real quick is that he brings up a great point. Is that do it because you love it. Even if it fails, you'll still be glad that you did it anyway. Guys, we're going to be doing autographs downstairs in the booth there. If you didn't get a question, come down and ask us.